The NBA drops a six-figure fine over player availability. College basketball launches its first ever tournament built around paying players. And trade season heats up as teams eye their final moves before December 15th. I'm your host Kyle, and welcome to Front Office Files, where we break down the biggest business moves in basketball from the past week. From NIL payments to the evolving trade market, let's dive into the money moves transforming the basketball landscape. Before we get into our main stories, let's rapid fire through some notable moves from the past week. Fred VanVleet's wallet is $50,000 lighter after his profane outbursts at officials got him ejected and fined. He's not alone. Kings coach Mike Brown got hit for $35,000 for aggressively pursuing a ref during live play, while Russell Westbrook owes $35,000 for making an obscene gesture towards the Knicks bench. And Magic teammates Jalen Suggs and Goga Bitadze were fined $2,000 each for flopping. The Sacramento Kings are addressing their bench scoring woes by signing veteran Jay Crowder to a vet minimum deal. Perfect timing. Their bench was outscored by 51 points in their last two games before the signing. Cam Thomas will miss 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury, potentially impacting Brooklyn's trade plans. The Nets guard was averaging career highs across the board with 24.7 points on 46% shooting before going down. Speaking of Brooklyn, they could create up to $70 million in cap space this offseason when Ben Simmons' contract finally comes off the books. That's why GM Sean Marks isn't looking to take on any long-term money and potential deals. Our top story takes us to Atlanta, where the Hawks just got slapped with a $100,000 fine for violating the NBA's player participation policy. The league determined that Trae Young could have played in their November 12th NBA Cup game against Boston, but was held out anyway. But here's where it gets interesting. Could have played and should have played are two very different things. According to Hawks reporter Brad Rowland, Young has been managing Achilles tendonitis all season. The league brought in an independent physician to review Young's medical information, essentially conducting a medical audit to determine if he really needed to sit. The timing of this fine reveals a lot about the NBA's priorities. This wasn't just any regular season game, it was an NBA Cup matchup. The league is clearly using this as an opportunity to send a message about their new tournament. They'll look the other way when a star sits against the Wizards on League Pass, but miss a national televised Celtics game or Cup matchup. That's when the fines start flying. What makes this case particularly sharp is that the NBA player participation policy was never meant to target players. It was designed to prevent teams from arbitrarily benching healthy stars for load management. In fact, most players typically want to play when teams try to rest them. But what happens if a player suits up and gets a DNP coach decision? The league hasn't addressed that loophole yet. The Hawks didn't help their case by failing to list Young on the injury report for their next game. But there's some irony here. Atlanta probably stood a better chance of winning that game with Young resting his Achilles. Instead, they're out $100,000 and setting a precedent that can impact how teams handle player injuries moving forward. College basketball just took name, image, and likeness deals to a whole new level. The Players Era Festival isn't just another Thanksgiving tournament. It's a $9 million experiment in monetizing college athletes through NIL deals. 8 teams hit the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas this week, each with a shot at up to $1 million in NIL opportunities. We're talking autograph sessions, charity events, social media deals, basically everything except performance bonuses, which the NCAA still won't allow. In fact, they had to scrap their original plan giving the winning team extra NIL money because it would have violated those rules. The business model here is fascinating. Major sponsors like Starbucks, Eli Lilly, and MGM Resorts are bankrolling the whole thing. Warner Bros. Discovery jumped on board with a multi-year broadcast deal, spreading games across the entire network portfolio. And this is just the beginning. They're planning to grow the field to 18 teams by 2025, expand into women's basketball, and pump over $50 million into NIL deals over the next 3 years. As we approach December 15th, when newly signed players become eligible for trades, the market is starting to take shape. Centers are generating the earliest buzz, with names like Jakob Poeltl, Nick Claxton, and Jonas Valanciunas potentially available. But the most intriguing situation might be in Chicago, where the Bulls are finally showing signs of flexibility. They're now, quote, open-minded to trading Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic could be had for as little as 2 second-round picks. Even Zach LaVine is available, though his remaining $250 million over 3 years makes finding a trade partner tricky. Meanwhile, New Orleans faces a stalemate with Brandon Ingram ahead of his free agency next summer, and he just signed with Clutch Sports Group. The Pelicans are in the luxury tax for the first time ever and likely won't stay there, but moving Ingram's $36 million salary while getting back value is proven challenging. Looking ahead, here are some developing stories to watch. The Sixers' rough start has many wondering if they'll pivot towards keeping their top 6 protected pick that they owe to OKC, but sources say they're staying the course for now. The Bucks had a rough start to the season as well, but were able to play themselves into the playoff picture. Let's see if Philly gets healthy and turns it around. Simone Fontecchio is emerging as an intriguing trade candidate. After competing offers last summer led to a 2-year, $16 million deal with Detroit, his playing time has surprisingly dried up. League executives remain high on his potential as a floor-spacing wing for a contender, making his decreased role even more puzzling given the Pistons chose to retain him at the previous deadline. Keep an eye on that center market. With teams like the Lakers potentially in the mix, we could see some movement once December 15th hits. Thanks for watching this episode of Front Office Files. If you enjoyed diving into the business side of basketball, make sure to like, comment, and share with someone who would enjoy breakdowns of the money moves behind the game. Subscribe to Basketball Business for more great content on the off-court moves that make the on-court plays. Until next time, this is Kyle with Basketball Business.